Greetings, infestors. I'll be with you in just a moment. I was putting some bone bags back in the grave in this creepy game. Speaking of creepy games, tonight's tale is about one from the deep web. So, without further ado, let the story begin. In the deep, dark corners of the internet, there's a game that exists called Sad Satan. And it's a horror game, unlike any other game I've ever played. Sad Satan cannot be bought at GameStop, nor can it be downloaded via traditional storefronts like Steam. It allegedly can only be downloaded via the tools that can access the hidden depth of the internet like Tor. There are places in the internet that exist that we cannot normally see. You guys might know this as the deep web. The term sounds more ominous than it actually is. The deep web is not some underground internet where only shady stuff like hacking or drug dealing occurs. The deep web refers to a vast repository of information that search engines and directories don't have direct access to. Think databases, password-protected sites, private websites and forums, as well as paywalled content. Now, there is something that the deep web is really good for. Users can upload stuff to something called onion sites, incognito, and anyone that accesses that content will have harder time tracing the source. I had dove into the deep web to download a mysterious game hosted on an onion site. The file was called Sad Satan, and it was a horror game that totally tickled my fancy. It was, after all, an obscure horror game. I do not use the deep web too often. A couple of months ago, a friend sent me a link and said that they found something really creepy and they knew that I would be interested, which of course I was. I did a quick check for malware and other viruses, and the file seemed okay. So I decided to dive headfirst into it. But I come to find out that this game was really inscrutable, creepy, enigmatic. Thankfully, this kind of stuff don't creep me out too bad. The game starts in a dark hallway. Walking forward, it's real hard to make out what's waiting for me in the distance. The only thing I can hear are footsteps, one after the other, acting as a reminder that something tangible exists within these shadows. My walking continues for a while, though the player in the video game doesn't really seem to make any progress. It almost seems as if the character is just walking in place, but no. Eventually, my character gets closer to this flickering light. This is where the strange, muffled sounds start. It almost sounds like a kid gasping. It could be anything though. I decided to turn my player back around and walk around for a bit. Then, I turn around again. Now, there seems to be a different door made out of light in the distance. The maze is not static. It changes. I decided to move towards the light, naturally. The voice gets more distorted, stranger. The hallway changes too. These voices begin to turn into a very obscure growl. I continue to simply walk forward. Really, that's the only thing I can do. Eventually, I find myself in the initial hallway once more, only this time it's corrupted, unstable. A yellow line flashes on the ground every few seconds, almost making it seem that my character is walking down the middle of a road. I keep walking up and down this road until eventually it transforms once more. At the end, no, the walkway decides to transform once more. It's the first hallway, but this time the entire level seems to groan and moan. It sounds like I'm inside the belly of a wretched beast. My character stands there for a while, simply listening. The sounds shift and grow. They get louder, more aggressive. It almost sounds like something is breathing on my player's neck, snarling and hungry. Eventually, the scenery changes on its own once again, but back to the black and white hallway. This area had also turned. The walls blur and shift, and I can hear a man repeat an unintelligible phrase over and over again. Still, I decide to push my character forward. Reaching the end of this hallway, I get to the end of it, and I'm greeted with this. This bizarre scene is something out of the season 1 of Hannibal. It lasted maybe for a second or two before it was gone. Then it was back to those damned hallways. This time, my character was moving very droggy-like he was in slow motion. The audio garbles even more. Then, I reached the end of the hallway, and it changes again. It was hard to make out, but I had my computer screen on full brightness. I was getting a little freaked out. There was actually blood on the ground. Naturally, I walked towards the source. Eventually, the screen flashes a photo again, only for a split second, before once again returning to the hallway. I finally reached the end of the newest hallway. This is part 1. The entire thing clocks in a little over 11 minutes. In the abstract, Sad Satan does not seem like a particularly good game. It's literally just walking up and down a hallway over and over again. The hallways themselves, the entire environment, seems like something a game design student could spit out in 20 minutes. And yet, Sad Satan is remarkably unsettling, even if you're just watching the game being played on YouTube or something. Partially, it's the audio, which works wonders for setting up a creepy tone. But in some ways, the crudeness of the game is exactly what makes it so potent. It adds authenticity. After the game was over, I canceled out of it. Shortly after that, I received an email. And just out of natural habit, I clicked on the email. I was sent these 2 very creepy photos. I don't think I was alone in the game. I wonder if that game is in development. Talk about trial and terror. Guys, be sure to leave comments below. Till next time.